Heather Mitchell is the candidate for the Stafford County Treasurer's office. She is joining us today to talk about her campaign. Heather, thanks for coming on and talking with us. I want to start by asking you a little bit about yourself as a person, who you are, your involvement in the community, your family, and your background as a political candidate.
Okay, well, first off, thank you, Uriah, for inviting me. I really appreciate it. My name is Heather Mitchell. I am currently one of the two chief deputy treasurers in the Stafford County Treasurer's office. I am the officer of operations. So basically, my job is to make sure that the operations of the treasurer's office run smoothly. Prior to that, I was a senior aide to the chairman up in Prince William County. I've also been a legislative aide down in Richmond. I did that when the former chairman's term ended. And then, of course, we had COVID. So there was a little lapse in employment. But before that, I moved to Stafford in 2014. My husband was active duty Marine Corps. We moved from Okinawa, Japan. And once we got here, we decided to make Stafford home. Because originally in 2014, my middle child, she was just starting high school at Colonial Forge, and she decided she wanted to do all 4 years here in Stafford. And so we, as a family, we made the choice to stay in Stafford. It's been interesting because during that time, my husband spent a year in Liberia and came home for 2 years, and then he spent 2 years in Guam, which kind of coincided with COVID. So we went about a year and a half without seeing each other. So he's home now, he's retired, and life is really good. So I have a total of 3 children. My oldest, she went to Marymount University up in Arlington. My middle, she graduated from JMU, and right now my son just finished his sophomore year at the University of South Carolina, and he's there on a Marine Corps ROTC scholarship. So it's going to be kind of neat when he goes through OCS and TBS, because he'll be right down the street from us. But one of the things over the years is I've always been deeply involved with the community wherever we've been. As a military spouse, we moved every 2 to 3 years, so it made things a little more difficult to get involved. But what I did was I joined the Key Volunteers Network. And basically, it's a group of volunteers. So when a unit deploys, we are actually the liaison between the command and the families. So I'm used to talking with people. I've always wanted to give back and help however I can. And when I was fortunate enough to get hired in the treasurer's office, I found a job that I absolutely love. I love getting up. I love going to work every single day. One of the things too, in my past, I guess you could say, is I did run for the House of Delegates. That's when I worked up in Prince William County. The delegate at the time, the district covered part of Prince William, part of Stafford. And I realized that she was more interested in running for governor than she was representing her constituents. And so I felt I knew going in it was a long shot. And obviously I did not win, but I look at it as a blessing in disguise, because I have realized one important thing. And it's very ironic on this, is the fact that I am not into the mudslinging. I'm not into being disingenuous and or any of the backstabbing that seems to go on if you are a politician. And the irony of it is, in order for me to continue doing a job that I absolutely love, I have to be elected.
So I want to ask, pin you down on the family. Your children age in ranges. What are their age ranges?
Well, my son, it was actually kind of funny. He just turned 20 on June 5th, which in Stafford, is tax day. So he is 20. My middle, she just turned 23 back in May, and my oldest, she is 27.
And for how long have you been married? How many years?
Oh my gosh, I have to count. We'll be celebrating our 24th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations to all on that. And you have worked as the deputy secretary. I'm not sorry, the treasurer, deputy treasurer since
Chief
when?
deputy, chief deputy.
Chief deputy. No, since
Yeah,
when?
since December of 2022. And
Chief
prior
deputy.
to,
Go ahead.
yeah, but prior to that, I was in delinquent collections.
Got you. Okay, so chief chief
Right.
deputy treasurer, December of 22 is when you took that role, and prior to that, you're working within the same office, working in their
Right.
collections. And do you know about how long you were working prior to becoming chief deputy treasurer?
About a couple years.
And before that, you worked in politics. You worked in politics, you ran for office, and you also worked for Supervisor Corey Stewart in Prince William County for many years in Prince William County. So you
And yeah,
have,
no, I
you
was gonna
have,
say, I've also worked for Delegate Emily Brewer, Delegate Margaret Ranson, and I've also worked for Mark Dudenheffer.
okay, very good. All of these names that we've heard many, many, many times. And you received the endorsement of the outgoing treasurer, Laura Rudy, who has been the Stafford County treasurer for many, many years. So with that endorsement, what does that mean for you and your campaign?
Well, what it means is actually I can continue to carry on basically the legacy of Laura. She will be retiring at the end of this year after 16 years of faithful service to the county. And I have had an incredible opportunity in the fact that to be mentored and trained by her. Starting out in delinquent collections, it's conceivably one of the harder jobs within the office. And it was something that I found because when you first hear delinquent collections, it's kind of has a bad taste in your mouth, I guess you could say. But what I found out is people want to be able to pay their taxes. It's not like they're trying to avoid it. It's just sometimes they can't. And speaking with taxpayers on a daily basis really, I guess, drives me in doing what I want to do and being able to serve the community. What I did when I started was I went through all of the processes and procedures of how we went about collecting taxes. One of the interesting things is prior to my arrival, on average, we were writing off about $600,000 a year annually in taxes, because the way the Virginia code is set up is that you can only collect taxes for up to 5 years. So at the end of that 5 years, it starts getting written off. And since I joined the team, we have collected basically in excess of $2.4 million in delinquent taxes and fees that otherwise would have been written off. So we streamlined the processes and procedures. What's interesting was when I was hired, it actually got us back to our staffing numbers from 2008. So we still have the staffing capacity of what we had in 2008, yet our county has grown by at least 40,000 people. So it's the same amount of people doing the work plus 40,000 people. So we've had to really take time and look, how can we streamline things and automate things, which we have done. One of the collection, I guess you could say, techniques that we use is called a DMV stop. I won't get too much in the weeds, but basically what happens is if your account is 60 days delinquent, we've streamlined it to where we do like a mass action stop is placed on the account. Prior to that, we had to do it manually. We would go through and manually put these stops on. But because we've automated, we've streamlined, we can do this. And generally what it does is it prevents you from being able to renew your tags. So a person will go in, try to renew their tags. It'll say, oh, I'm sorry, you can't, you have unpaid personal property. A lot of times they'll call us and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. They pay it, we remove the stop, and they go about their day. But what we've done is with some of the process or procedures I've put in place is that we've built a framework on doing payment plans. So if you get a tax bill and you realize, wow, I cannot afford to pay this, $900 tax bill, what we can do is we can set you up on a payment plan, which, we go through, we talk to you, find out what you can pay, and then the status, I guess you could say, is placed on the count so that the DMV stop doesn't get put on there. And it's been a great program that we've implemented, and things have been working really well.
Now the office sees a lot of people, and when we were during the during COVID times and the sort of the lockdowns, you had to balance, being open to the public versus the safety of your employees. But nonetheless, the office, you have a DMV Select, which is a smaller version of the DMV, and you can take certain transactions there that you may be able to process at your office versus going and waiting in a longer line in a larger DMV. And all of that was put in under Laura Rudy over the years. So what do you intend to keep if you're elected treasurer, and what other changes would you like to see? What more could this office do to serve the public?
Well, obviously we want to keep the DMV Select, because a lot of the residents do use this. If you need to do a title change, renew your registration, we can do things like that. We can't do driver's licenses or anything like that. But one of the other things that I am looking at doing is, right now we do collections for we have a contract with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office where we collect court fines and fees. And this program is really nice because the monies that they collect actually pays their own salary. So there's no money coming out of the taxpayer's pocket to fund these positions. What I'm looking to do is actually expand it over into utilities to assist them setting up a similar program to keep it all in-house, in the county. That's one of the other programs I'm exploring. But also, it's a big thing is we want to promote Invoice Cloud. So as a lot of people know, that we've transitioned to a new payment portal. And what we're trying to do is give the power of how a taxpayer pays their bills, give them control. So what we're doing, we're in the middle of converting to where you can have paperless billing. We didn't want to implement that right away. We wanted everybody to get kind of comfortable with our system, because what we plan to do is, if you want to opt out of having a paper bill sent to you, you click the button. You've got control of if you want to be sent a hard copy bill or not. A lot of people, which is funny, even if you have a zero balance, a lot of people still like to get those bills, because a lot of those accounts are people that are in some sort of tax relief, some sort, it could be senior relief, it could be the veterans relief. And it's kind of like a check and balance to make sure that their exemption is still being, appropriately applied. So
Let me ask you about challenges about the growing county. You noted between 2008 and today, we've seen a population boom of 40,000. That number isn't getting any smaller; it continues to grow. So, from the treasurer's perspective, what will be some of the challenges as Stafford County continues to see population increase, and how will you work to overcome those?
Well, with the population increase, obviously it comes in the form of technology. How can we streamline things to make it easier for the taxpayer? Right now, like I said, staffing wise, we're still at 2008 numbers, but we're still getting the job done. And we're doing it in an incredibly efficient, job of doing it, and we always do it with a smile because my big thing is customer service, and everybody at work hates it when I say this, but it's true that customer service is not a department, and it's an attitude. And, like you pointed out, we have a DMV select in our office. Generally, most people, when you think of the DMV, you're like, oh, can't, hate the DMV. But you come into our DMV select, you will always have a representative smiling and however they can help you. But it is challenging because there are still a lot of things that we have to manually do because you need to have an attention to detail that only a person can provide. And we don't want to think of people as just an automated number. We want to have the personal interaction. And that's why, I am a huge proponent of, having the advanced technology because we have a brilliant staff, IT staff that is on top of making sure all of our programs run correctly. But we are exploring new things, and there's new products on the horizon. Things that I've been looking at. Don't want to give away all my trade secrets, but looking at which will make our office more efficient.
Well, Heather Mitchell, thank you for coming on and talking with us today about the campaign. The election day, primary election is June 20th. Early voting has been going on since I don't know when. It seems like there's always an election division and always
it's
some
right
sort
across.
of
It's right across from our office. So,
so,
it's
so if you haven't voted already, election day is June 20th, and Heather Mitchell is running for treasurer of Stafford County. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.